Hi, this is Steve from Kony. In our experience, over 50% of SAP mobility projects fail because of scalability, data volume, and complexity issues. In the majority of cases, this is due to external middleware servers using the direct RFC function interface, which was originally designed back in the R3 days to handle short, sharp, real-time transactions, and not to synchronize large volumes of complex objects and binary data, which B2E mobile applications typically demand nowadays. In this video, we will look at the limitations of simple RFC connectors, e.g. BAPI calls, and why they don't scale well. We'll also look at how we at Kony have overcome these limitations with our unique inside SAP integration approach, which we've been using successfully for over a decade. Now let's look at what a typical RFC connector architecture looks like. An external middleware server uses the embedded C, JCO, or .NET libraries supplied by SAP to establish a direct synchronous connection with the SAP environment and call a specific function module or BAPI. Each call to SAP is associated with a specific named user and consumes a dialog process in SAP for the duration of the transaction. Standard SAP named user authentication and SSO tokens are supported, and most external servers or gateways also implement some sort of connection pool processing to avoid having to continually log on and off for each call, which is highly inefficient. The external server or gateway has no visibility of what's going on inside of SAP and effectively implements a polling or pull mechanism to check and retrieve data. This architecture was originally designed back in the R3 days to support short, sharp transactions, i.e. minimize the amount of time taken executing dialog processes inside of SAP. In and out fast, think SAP GUI. So what are the limitations of using this approach for mobile? First and foremost, there's no event-driven push capability, meaning that the mobile applications via the external middleware server continuously poll and pull information from the SAP environment rather than push out changes as they occur inside of SAP. There is no support for asynchronous priority queue processing, dependency or interface management inside of SAP, allowing you to effectively throttle transaction storms and process transactions in context and harmony with everything else that's going on inside of the SAP environment. You are effectively competing directly with the other online users for SAP resources, with little or no load balancing capability. The function call interface itself is very static, using fixed one-dimensional cryptic structures and tables. These are very difficult to map and extend, and nested parent-child navigations and associated embedded binary objects, pictures, video, files, that sort of thing, are not really supported. To do any of this often requires specialized ABAP programming and customization to work around the shortfalls of this architecture. You can only execute one call at a time, meaning that you typically have to spam SAP with repeated calls to retrieve lists of data, taking up valuable dialog processing time inside of SAP. You should be able to schedule or queue a single request and be notified when it's been processed, or be automatically notified by SAP when there is work to do. You also typically need to process multiple transactions within SAP when processing business objects. E.g., when you create an order, you may want to also generate the delivery, pick list, and invoice. Performing multi-transactional workflows outside of the SAP environment can lead to inefficiencies, complex conflict error management, and disconnected rollback restart processes outside of SAP. The buffering or chunking of large sets of data and files is necessary to prevent the external server or gateway or mobile device from becoming overwhelmed with the sheer volume and the memory required to process it. Buffering effectively breaks up the data into logical sets of objects so that they can be processed effectively without limitation. The RFC Connector Architecture does not support this, and often elaborate custom solutions need to be implemented to overcome this critical limitation. And so it should come as no surprise to everybody that when this architecture is pushed to support large volumes of user and complex data, that it starts to hit severe limitations and creak at the seams, ultimately impacting the SAP environment and causing performance and data integrity issues. So what is the solution? At Kony, we believe that providing a certified add-in inside of SAP to properly manage integration is the only way to scale mobile applications. In this way, you can take full advantage of the excellent SAP event-driven client-server architecture to effectively support asynchronous queue processing, intelligent throttling and load balancing, error management, and all the other controls you would expect from an enterprise-grade integration solution. We implement a certified add-in inside of SAP that performs advanced interface management. We also expose a fully featured, secure, and open RESTful interface that is easily integrated with our mobile fabric MBOSS server that may be implemented in the cloud or on-premise. This means we can provide a deep level of integration within SAP that performs and scales well and provides the flexibility and extensibility required. We've used this approach for over a decade to implement successful mobile solutions with hundreds of customer projects globally. If we do a side-by-side comparison of a simple RFC BAPI connector and our RESTful inside SAP approach, you can start to see the real limitations of using straight RFC function calls. Incidentally, the SAP mobile platform SMP and Fury also suffer from the same architecture limitations as a simple RFC BAPI connector. On the left-hand side of this chart are listed the key integration features that we believe are mandatory for delivering B2E mobile solutions that are robust and scale well. I'm not going to go through all of these, we've already covered some of them earlier, but you get the picture. I would be extremely skeptical of vendors saying they have an RFC connector for SAP and that it's easy. They may have some fancy mapping tools outside of SAP to BAPIs, function modules, etc., but almost definitely don't have the necessary integration controls inside of SAP. In summary, the bottom line is that the proprietary SAP RFC remote function call architecture was originally designed for short, sharp, real-time dialogue transactions. It does not scale well when you process higher volumes of complex data objects that are typically required in B2E mobile applications, synchronizing data, etc. You have to implement an inside SAP integration approach to properly manage workloads, operate in harmony with the overall SAP Business Suite environment, and take full advantage of the event-driven client-server architecture for optimal performance. Unfortunately, a large percentage of SAP mobility projects fail because of scalability issues due to pushing the RFC architecture way past what it was designed to do, which is simple, in and out, real-time transaction processing. I hope this video has helped you understand some of the issues around SAP integration and why we have an inside SAP REST approach. Thank you.